Hi friends, today we are going to solve triple sum problem from the search subsection of the interview preparation kit. So the given problem statement says that given three arrays A, B and C of different sizes, find the number of distinct triplet P, Q and R where P is an element of A, which can be written as P belongs to A, Q belongs to B and R belongs to C, satisfying the criteria where P is smaller than Q and Q is greater than R. So from this statement we could easily understand that the value of the Q when forming a triple sum or while forming a three distinct triplets, Q should be maximum than the P and the R. Now, the next things to understand here is that we could achieve this by so many ways. Let's do a brute force approach. Okay, so first write count equal to 0, and I will just write a basic for loop, three for loops. Okay, for I in range 0 to length of a, for j in 0 to length of b. Now we will do the first condition check. So in our case, we will check if a dot I should be less than or equal to b dot j. So here a dot I corresponding to p, the p value, and b dot j correspond to the q value, and we know that q should be greater than p. Now for the next condition, for k in range 0 to length of c, we will perform again same condition, b dot j greater equal to c dot k. So if we find an element in k where the value is greater, so we will count plus equal to 1, and at last we will return our count. So this is a very brute force approach. So the complexity of this problem is big O of n cube, which is large and huge to be exact. Speaking, so it did make a mistake. It sounds, let's check. Okay, so here most probably the issue is of, I think the issue is because of there are two different characters. So we could resolve this by using a set function. A equal to set of A, B equal to set of B, C equal to set of, and let's try to run this code. Hopefully this will get resolved. Okay, so we could also again further optimize this problem by using a sorting function. So let's write sorted. So the last time the issue that was happening was, in this case, there were, guess in number, this one, there were two threes. So we need to take a set of that value, because we will just, we have to remove the extra threes. So that's the entire idea. So you have to take the distinct triplets. So in this case, as there is 2, 3, so we are getting a value of 8, but we have to take the distinct triplets. So that's why the number should be 5. That's why you have used a set function. And apart from set, reason for using a sorted function is very simple, just to optimize our code in much better way. So for example, if all the values are sorted, we could easily uh, perform this loop. So number of iteration or number of times the loop needs to revolve or go through would reduce if the values are already sorted. Now let's submit the code. So this is a brute force approach, mind you. So there could be some errors. So how to solve these errors? So if you I think these few cases will give out time limit exceeded errors. So to solve this now, this issue with this code is that it is big of n cube, which is a large value. But while looking through this code, let's take an example of this code. Let's take this example. This is a very small example. 3, 2, 3. Or let's the eighth value 1, 3, and 5. B value is 2 and 3, and 1, 2, 3. A equal to, let's say, B equal to, and let's say C equal to this. So our B is the main value. So B, whichever value of B we are selecting should be greater than both A and C. So in this case, let's first start with B. So when B is 2, then how many values of A that are present which are smaller than 2? So in the first case, only one element of A is present, 1. And in the second case, there are 2 elements. So 1, 2. Now when B is 3, how many elements that are present in A which is smaller or equal to 3? There are 2 elements, and in case of 3, there are 3 elements. So can we do something? Can we say that number of distinct triplets that could be formed when the value is 2 is equal to 1 into 2, and number of distinct triplets that could be formed when the value is 3 is 2 into just a simple combination, 1 into 3. So value is going to be 6, and the first value is going to be 2. And now we need to add both of them. So 2 and 6 would become 8. So that's the idea. Now here we have to by some way, or by somehow, our job would be that when we are looping through the B or every element of B, when you're looping through every element of B, can we find how many numbers of list A, or how many elements of list A are lesser or equal to than the current element that we are looping through in B, and same goes for C. So to do this, it if you're going to count those values, it's easier. But even if you count those values, it will give a runtime error. Now you might be thinking, then how's the way of doing it? So there comes a module called bisect. So it is kind of like heap queue. Its time complexity is very nominal. So in bisect module, there comes a function called bisect, which would basically return us number of elements that are smaller than the current element of B. So let us try doing that. So for the first one, let's take AA equal to bisect dot. I will urge you to maybe read this entire module. That will give you a great understanding how this works. So here we will have to pass the value or the list A, and the element that we are going to check, that how many elements of A that are smaller than which value. So it would be p dot I. Similarly, for the CC, we'll create another variable, and it would be same formula, bisect dot bisect C comma B dot I will give us the number of elements that are smaller than B dot I. So now we'll just simply multiply AA and CC as we've done in this case, and we would be adding that value to the count. So this is the entire idea of this code. Let's run it. It will give us correct answer. Let's submit the code. As you could see, it pretty much solved our entire problem in just quite ease. That was giving us runtime complexity. So bisect module is very interesting module, and I was going through discussion, and unfortunately nobody has tried to implement this module, which is kind of funny because it is such an it really reduces the problem to a huge extent. So if you guys are interested, then I would ask you to check out. There are two modules or two packages in Python which you could use in any coding environment. One is bisect, another is called heapq. So go through those. I think those would be really helpful to solve this hard complexity problem. And if you just understand the concepts of bisect and heapq, I think your job of competitive programming would be simplified to a huge extent. So go and check out those. And apart from this, if you guys find some ways of solving this problem with an even better time complexity or much more easier code that would be easier for anyone to understand, feel free to comment below. I think that would be really helpful for the entire community that I'm trying to create. As of now, I've just very less number of followers, but still they watch those videos and really gives me pleasure. I want to complete this entire interview preparation kit by the end of this year. That would be really helpful. There are a few questions which, as for me, also are very difficult. So, in trying to solve this, I think my own knowledge is increasing, which is really important. And as always, thanks for watching and stay tuned.